Feral. What?
Your bro here sounds a little Scottish to me.
It sounds Scottish? You think so?
I'm getting a little Colin Farrell out of the voice here.
See, I
can add it. I can add the Scottish if you want me to, but
There we go. That's now I'm hearing it.
There we go.
What if we spent the entire podcast with Kinan doing a Scottish accent and we just convinced everybody that he was secretly Scottish the entire time?
I like it.
I mean,
he already has a kilt.
We could do that, but honestly, there's a problem with that for a very simple reason. The moment I would not be getting the vernacular right of the Scottish people, I would be hosed, I'd be done. And they would just be able to tell that he's doing an accent. All right, let's not do that.
You'd be hosed? What does that mean? I haven't heard that.
I'd be found out. Basically, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, no, he's just putting on an accent." It's like the English would say, "Taking a piss out of something," and you know.
Okay, well that seems like as good an intro as any. Welcome to the 5th episode of Breakroom Nachos.
Welcome everybody.
Joined by the one and only Scottish Kinan Eldari.
I mean, I could do the voice, but that would be disingenuous if I did it the entire time. But yeah, hi everybody.
No, he's not actually Scottish.
No,
That's
I'm not.
fake.
Hi. I can do the accent. That's about it.
See, you're.
I love the southern U.S. accent that just came out there.
Oh, that was really good. Because I know you're Dutch, obviously, but I've never since the entire time I've known you, I've never heard a pretty strong Dutch accent from you. You do not have a strong accent.
I actually just purposefully put it do it that way. Huh? Let me close the door real quick. Wow.
What the hell?
God.
What's happening over there?
Yeah, basically.
It sounded like a bulldozer started to lift up your house or something.
Yeah, no, that was my chair just rolling. Sorry.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I can put on the Dutch accent, but the problem is, it legitimately, no joke. Right now, I have to focus on applying.
It's not
Dutch.
Your natural state.
Yeah, it's not. It's really like any accent. I can sort of just slip into and just be normal. It's just fine. It's not very for that. But the moment
I love how, not only for listeners who don't know you already, but this is Mike's first experience with you. It's just, you just bouncing back and forth between accents.
It's a thing.
I didn't even introduce you two before we started the podcast.
No.
Mike, this is Kinan, this is Mike.
Hi.
No, well, hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Again, welcome to the 5th episode of Breakroom Nachos, folks. We are joined by Kinan Eldari. He is a good friend of mine. We've been friends on the internet for a little under 4 years now, I believe.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Him and I became friends when my channel was still doing daily gameplay videos. So this was a long time ago.
Oh wow.
Yep,
Yeah.
I had only just started making the more cut down gameplay videos, and even then they were pretty garbage. So
I mean, you live and learn.
So, Kinan, why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself? Tell us about what kind of content you do for anyone who doesn't already know.
All right. So, I am, like Mack, basically a Let's Player. And I started off the whole thing because when the first version of OBS rolled around, people asked me to demonstrate how the hell I actually got through a stupid little indie game called Revenge of the Titans. Because for some reason I could play that at max level and I would just blow right through it, and they just didn't get it. So I'm like, you know what, sure, I'll just record it. You know what, let's, while we're at it, make it a little show, and why not? So I just went with a very silly, good day folks, welcome to KinanPlays. I'm like, oh god, even thinking about that now, it's just so cringeworthy.
Oh, I know. I can't watch my old videos because they're so hard to watch. But I did not know your origin story. We'd never talked about this before.
Yeah, so people asked me to do that, and I had so much fun just doing that. I kept on recording throughout the entire game, and I thought I like this as a hobby, and it stuck. It just stuck. I mean, it's kind of gotten to, I think I might have already hit at least 500 videos, if not going towards 700 at this point, if not more.
You do. Wow. I mean, you post pretty frequently. I think right now you're doing about 2 videos a week, one live stream VOD and one just recorded episode uploaded, right?
Yep. Right now, because I've already gone through like the entirety of Legend of Zelda, except for
So when
apparently-
I met you that you were doing Legend of Zelda, I think you finished
Right.
that last year, right?
Yeah, and then there's a funny, stupid thing. When I finished that, I was like, yes, I'm taking a break for a month now because I've just finished like a super long 4-year project, and then somebody pointed out to me that the multiplayer game Triforce Heroes is also canon. I'm like,
That's
Damn
right.
it.
Yeah, I did notice you were playing through that. I was like, didn't he finish his Legend of Zelda stuff? But
yep, nope.
guess you miffed it.
I missed that one because I thought, it's a multiplayer game. It goes to a country called Hytopia. This is not canon, is it? Oh, they updated it. It's canon now. So I had to go back and do that. So, that's now a sort of 2 videos a week thing, which I record on Sundays. That's when I have this time for that nonsense. And beyond that, I just stream whatever the hell I want on Wednesdays.
Nice. Speaking of other countries,
Oh,
with the current polar vortex situation, I don't know if that's affecting you guys at all. Like, are you having any trouble getting your little wooden clogs through the snow?
Thankfully, we also have Nikes over here. Not sponsored.
They're wooden Nikes though, right?
Yes, very special wooden
Oh,
Nikes.
good. I'm just glad we got that covered.
Yeah, some Nike clogs.
Yep. No, they can't do anything else, man. You know that they won't let us import anything else, so it's what you got. But no,
It's illegal for you to import anything but wooden shoes.
right?
They can be any brand you want as long as they're wooden.
As long as they're made of wood.
Yep, pretty much. Like no other.
God, wooden
material.
Converse would be so uncomfortable. Because they're like so tight on your feet already. Oh,
Yep. Yeah.
wooden
Oh, man, that
Converse.
would-
Not a fan of that already.
Oof. Yeah, no, especially. Oh, I don't even want
Double
to imagine
oof. I
that.
like it.
We almost had a
Um,
jinx oof.
Surprisingly, we didn't have so much of polar vortex like you guys are going through right now. We are just at the tail end. We just actually had our 2 days of non-freezing weather, and the snow is already gone.
That's
But
nice.
we did have like a solid 10 days of just freezing temperatures, and I actually was able to just go skating again for the first time in like, 4 or 5 years?
Ice skating?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
I don't know why, like, automatically I assumed you meant roller skating, and I was kind of imagining you like roller skating around on a frozen lake. I don't think you get very good traction.
No, oh gods,
Dude, I love skating.
Ice skating is
Yeah.
great.
I don't do too much ice skating. I'm really good at roller skating though. I can skate backwards and all that kinds of shit. I'm really good at roller skating.
I do that on like I'm not sure if you ever like watched competitive like speed skating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
what was that guy's name? Apollo Anton Ono?
I don't know any of the
He was
guys.
like
Sure.
Like a big time Olympic
Definitely seen it on the Olympics.
speed skater.
You know me, Mike. I don't like sports much, but I do get really excited about the Olympics, and my heart was broken when it got delayed this year.
Yeah.
Aw. Honestly, for good reason, but yeah.
Good
still,
reason,
aw.
but hey, dude. Sometimes your boy wants to see a bunch of people at the top of their field just absolutely go at it.
True.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, checks out.
Do the I'm gonna sound really stupid right now, but do the Netherlands participate in the Olympics?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. I know there's some countries that don't, so I'm not sure. All the
No, we do.
countries.
In fact, we keep surprising. Like as far as like per capita, how many medals we always bring home every single time. It's like not we participate in every single sport, and I would have to look up which ones beyond like track and sprinting and the like.
You're
But-
bringing home the fake accents one.
No, that's just me. But no, I don't know. Yeah, as far as like I think even Americans at once remarked that for a country of like at this point 17 million people, we have a lot of talent. Surprisingly, like basically any major sport apart from maybe like snowboarding, although we do have an Olympian participating in that these days, we pretty much do all kinds of sports. Like, I mean, maybe not basketball. We play it, but yeah, not at the level
I was
that
just-
I would like people to play it at.
I just I thought about a Dutch basketball team all wearing wooden shoes.
Clunk,
Just-
clunk,
just-
clunk,
Just
clunk, clunk.
clomping around in the
Head
field.
to toe orange and wooden shoes.
Yeah.
Oh man! I mean, that is kind of the joke about it though, because our team colors are always orange because of our royal
I know you
house.
guys are bright motherfuckers. Where does that
Yeah.
come from? Do you know the origin of the
Yes.
orange thing in
Yeah.
Netherlands?
You know, it's really easy. The royal house of our country is just of orange, literally.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's that easy.
Well then.
So I'm glad you guys brought up like the Olympic Netherlands topic, because this actually brings me into the one question that I did have for you.
Mm.
I don't know. Baseball is probably not very big in the Netherlands, is it?
Nope, but I do know that we have at least one, if not two, players in the MLB these days.
So the reason I ask that is because I know at least for sure you field a little league team, which is actually pretty good most of the time.
I always forget that you're pretty into like the little league stuff.
I get very,
that sounds very suspicious, but like
I get
not in a weird way, just watching the sport kind of way.
it's kind of a big thing here every summer for, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. You see a bunch of like 12 and 13-year-olds playing international baseball against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's broadcast on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But the Netherlands always has a pretty decent team, and it always seems super odd to me. But then none of the
I mean, they're children, so none of them are going to be that good.
Well, I mean, actually, they ended up so the way the Little League World Series is divided up, without getting too nerdy on this, the U.S. has one team that ends up going to the final, and then the rest of the world makes up the opponent. So they all play each other, and the best team from the world plays the U.S. in the final.
The U.S. versus the world. That seems so appropriate.
I mean, we host the tournament. Not the point. One year, the Netherlands actually won it. I want to say in like 2004 or 2006, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very confused because nobody on the team looks like they should be from the Netherlands. And the more research I did, apparently Curacao is a colony, a Dutch colony.
Yep.
And is a huge area for baseball. That whole Latin America, South America, Central America is very big into baseball. And so everyone on the Netherlands teams looks like they're completely Hispanic and they are all very good at baseball. And then it says Netherlands right across the front of their uniforms.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, no, here indeed. There's Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, and then Saint Martin, which half of it belongs to the Netherlands. So yeah, we actually have territory out there.
Man, we're fellow colonizers, Kinan.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, come on, New Amsterdam. You guys have heard of that, right?
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, we were there. Then we messed up, and the English were.
Now you just have
sailing into
old
the port.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
We should circle back to that colonization thing again.
Do you have something you want to talk about?
No, it's just ridiculous. It's good that the world reached a point where we stopped colonizing each other.
Well, definitely, I'd agree with you there.
I just wanted to make a joke about how we should bring that back. We haven't expanded in a while.
No, not really.
Oh, I mean,
Wait,
okay.
so wait, are you saying we should bring it up as a podcast topic, or we should just bring it back into popular?
I mean, I think both, but
Kinan, we're coming for you.
Really putting it into practice is probably the better way to go.
I mean, I personally feel, and this is going to link back to something we've talked about on earlier podcasts. I personally feel that we should kind of go the opposite route and kind of withdraw from some areas.
Oh,
specifically,
you are 100% correct when I'm not trying to make a joke, but
specifically, I think we should just, cut Ohio out completely.
Yeah.
And just make that its own little zone that we have. Like we can take the Mexico wall and just wrap it around Ohio instead. I think that's a better usage of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I will. In defense of Ohio, it's not that bad.
Kinan, you have not seen the rest of America. You've seen small chunks of America. You have not seen. I know you've been to Ohio. I know you think you know what you're talking about, but.
I mean, I've been all over the U.S. I've been to the West Coast, to the East Coast, now apparently also semi-close to the flyover states. I mean, it's not as if I'm unfamiliar with the terrain of the U.S.
You don't know the people.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I
really
do.
it's really
the
all the
people.
people.
I mean, I do. I do, though. I mean, I think I get your point because I've not been, like, through the entirety of Ohio. But the Ohioans I've met, and this is also including the ones on the internet, they tend to be fairly okay people. So I just, for the sake of
I feel like the ones that
Ohioans
know how to
out
use
there,
the internet are trying to compensate for the ones that can't.
I mean, come on. There's rotten apples everywhere. Doesn't matter where you go.
There's rotten potatoes in some places.
Yeah.
Yeah, our fields, for example, if it's too wet during the summer. Oops. But no. Somebody's got to defend Ohio. Come on. They are one of those forgotten states.
Oh, they're not forgotten. They're just hated.
No, we will not be defending them on here. You are more than welcome to. Mac and I will not be participating in
any of that shit. Like we can unplug our microphones and walk away for a few minutes if you have some stuff you want to say, but
no,
like we can't legally like participate in that kind of behavior.
All right, no, that's fair. No, it's like
and I will be using it as fodder to cancel you on Twitter. So.
Oh, come on! As if I use my Twitter.
Do you even have a Twitter? I don't even know.
I do, but I don't really use it.
I don't know if I follow you on there. I kind of doubt I do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you don't because I would have seen it. Like maybe I have 2-3 people that know that I'm back on there, and beyond that, I just saw no need to advertise.
Yes, you're an interesting guy. I'll turn this into kind of a question. You're an interesting guy because you do not get as immersed into the internet as someone would expect from a guy who like me live streams and makes videos. You don't get as immersed into like the internet culture as a lot of other people do, and I'm kind of curious what you kind of think of that. Like if you think it affects your content at all.
Because
I know you hate a lot of memes.
The thing
You're
with
not
memes
into
is
the memes.
I mean, to get my opinion just on record on that, I find most memes to just be lazy. And
I mean, that's totally
my
valid.
main problem with it. It is just like it's a stock image that somebody found funny for whatever reason, and they just slap a text on there, and then that gets replicated a million times, and I'm like, that's lazy.
It's shitposting. That's the problem with memes. It's like when it comes to meme, there's like 95% of them that you see that are not worth your time, and then there's that golden 5% that are pretty good, and then there's that like 1% that are funny.
Yeah, but then
memes are kind of a delicate balancing act. You have to like be willing to look at a lot of bullshit to find anything good.
And that's my point right there. I'm not willing to look through all the bullshit.
That's fair.
That's basically the reason why why memes in general are just not for me. It just, I don't know, just like because of the vast majority of them being unfunny, and this is to go a little bit deeper on the subject. It's a little philosophical, I guess. I'm not sure if I'm going
we're
way
getting
beyond
deep
what
on
you guys
Breakroom
usually talk
Nachos
about.
episode 5.
I
said we're getting deep on Breakroom Nachos episode 5. Let's go.
But as you already put it, like 95% of it is garbage. It's just not great, and generally you will find the same 95% of people posting those garbage kinds of memes, and it's only the 5% that are actually good and the 1% that are actually worth your time. And same kind of goes for people in that sense. Like, they're just not funny people. And I mean, come on.
I wasn't expecting you to go there.
No, not at all.
95% of humanity is not worth your time. I mean, I agree with you, but
I mean,
we've already talked about how I think the human race needs to go extinct. So I'm with you on this, but I didn't expect you to go there.
I mean, like I said, it's a little philosophical, a little deep, and maybe a little bit much of a deep cut in that sense. But I don't know.
Memes imitate humans.
I mean, memes.
Art imitates life. Life imitates art.
If you look at like real life, and I'm taking the memes like out of it and just going towards like who is actually rich, who is actually famous, who is actually a smart person. The division will probably be more like 20 to 25, 30% of people that are actually in the worthy category in that sense, and then there's like 60%.
Ohio's in the unworthy category.
Yeah. I mean, look at the word Ohio. It's got 2 zeros built right into it. Clearly, it's not worth anything.
They're not batting for
but
the
you get my
fences.
point, right? That there's cream and then there's everything below that.
There's cream and there's crop.
But yeah, no, that's why for a lot of internet culture, I don't interact with it. To bring it back to the original question, because as I personally think, a lot of it is just not worth interacting with. Because
that's fair.
Because if we people might.
I mean, I've told you before how I find Twitter very difficult to use, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and this is with Twitter. I've actually had at one point deleted my account because I spent an hour just trying to keep up with every little thing that everybody that I followed threw up on there, and literally threw up.
Nice vomit jokes.
Yeah, no, that was like, oh, that I just slipped right into.
That's what she said.
No, but no. But so,
this is a very high IQ live stream, live stream podcast. I hope you're keeping up. Sorry, I'm not. I'm used to us live streaming together. We don't do this offline bullshit that often.
Yeah, I mean, during the recordings, I have on numerous occasions just been like, all right, now to look at the chat. Wait, there is no chat.
I bet. Well, especially because you're still just playing games in your recordings, so it's the same thing, just without people seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so but I do interact in some part with internet culture. I do try to keep up with some of it, but as soon as I judge something to just be not worth my time, I will just be like, okay, moving on.
Have you seen Keyboard Cat?
No. The honest answer, no, I haven't. I don't actively look for
Meme is so old.
I know. Well, he's like, I don't keep up with it too much.
Yeah,
So
I mean, there you go.
I thought I'd throw that one out there.
Hey, good point. It's a perfect illustration of it. Because, okay, if you explain it to me, it's probably going to ring a bell, but...
It's a cat wearing a t-shirt playing a keyboard. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, that's really all it is.
Oh, wow. I might actually have seen that, but never actually saw the link between them. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, no.
It's really not that great. It's just like a famous...
That was kind of like in the early days of meme culture.
Yeah.
No
Back when memes lasted longer than a week.
Right.
I mean, as if they last longer than 5 minutes these days.
It do be like that.
True that.
So, Kinan, you are closer in age to Mike than you are with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of curious, when did you start getting involved with video games? Because you are someone who is very interested in the production of video games, which is also something I would like to talk about. But for now, I want to start with, like, how did you kind of get into video games and what kind of led you towards wanting to be involved with them?
Ooh, this is like, oh boy. I've been a gamer as long as I've been able to consciously form a thought. That's not even a hyperbole. I've been interested and captivated by games ever since I was like 3-4 years old. I came into a friend's house who had... Then this is back in the days when Europe was sort of shafted as far as video game releases went, because you guys would already have like something for like...
I wasn't sure where you were going with that, but right, yeah, I gotcha.
So this is where the US and especially Japan would have already had something for like either half a year, or like in the case of Japan, like a couple, because the NES didn't come to Europe until like 86 or something.
Right.
Okay.
And I was born in 86, and these things lasted forever. And when I was like 4, I walked in with a friend who was like, I want to show you a thing. And he showed me Super Mario Brothers, and I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. And
the classic.
Shortly after that, my mom got me a Game Boy, and I've been playing games ever since. In fact, I still have that original Game Boy.
Oh, nice.
It's a bit worse to wear.
It's one of my biggest regrets ever. I don't have any of my original Game Boy Advance, any of my old consoles. Like, I sold them all when I was younger, and I regret it so much. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I want to go back and kick the shit out of young.
You got to go back and rebuy all those.
Yeah.
Well, I can't now. This is like over a decade. I can't go back to the shop.
Okay.
Like, hey, bro, You still got my Game Boy?
Hey,
I will
bro,
also say that
not the exact one you owned. You can buy another.
They're
console.
so expensive, though. They're hard to get.
Also, that shop that you went to is probably out of business by now.
I think it might have been a GameStop, so they're, their stocks are pretty high right now.
Oh god, yeah. GameStonk.
Good old GameStonks. So when did you start kind of being like, oh, I want to make these?
When I was 12, I already gave it my first attempt, and then I realized how hard it is to make games. Like,
yeah, I saw on a video I watched not too long ago. Like, it was a quote by some game developer. I don't know who the fuck, so don't quote me on this, or don't trust anything I say because I'm a garbage human. But it was some pretty famous game developer talking about how if people knew what went into games, they wouldn't make games because on a surface level they look impossible. Like so much goes into the production of a video game.
Oh yeah.
Like from sound, music, levels, like graphics, code. Like there's so much to it. You are literally building an entire world inside of a computer, and it just seems like, how does this even happen?
Determination and inspiration, and also how to put this best,
not being EA.
I mean, they do put out games a lot, so I wouldn't say that that's
they do not make good game.
They haven't for a while, no. But no, not being told something is impossible is also a very, very strong component in that. Because it's, this is where I bombed so hard when I was 12. I realized, like, I had to learn a program. And that, oh my goodness, that is its entire field all on its own. And, oh my goodness, if you were 12 and have no idea what the heck you're doing, it's impossible. It is impossible within a certain amount of time to actually churn out anything that is even remotely feasible.
Oh, totally.
So that's my first attempt, though. And it was like with RPG Maker, and it was and also like a level builder in the old Unreal Tournament, I would say, or even
that's some
Quake,
classic stuff.
even just old, like old stuff. And I sort of forgot about it, considering again it was so freaking hard, and I didn't have anybody to teach me because there was no real internet where you could just look this stuff up at the time.
Right.
That was the internet, but it was like, hi, this is my website. Period.
How to torrent Sony Vegas.
How to download a car. No.
Yeah, shit like that. There was no... The internet was extremely unhelpful when I was young, certainly, and when you were young, even less so.
Yeah, oh god, it's the first days of the internet, 56K modems. It was like, you get off the internet real quick now, because that nonsense is expensive. I'm like, okay, fine, jeez, I'll just not do this book report then.
You also had to deal with the whole can you get off the internet because I have to make a phone call?
Right. Yeah. Oh god, yeah. We had to deal with that too.
Baby.
Or whoever was downstairs not knowing that somebody else was on the internet upstairs in the office, and then they pick up the phone and you either get disconnected or they get like an earful of noise. I'm like, well,
yep.
Yeah. Getting ADSL was just
I very barely saw dial-up. My parents had dial-up when I was like very young, but they upgraded, and that around I don't know how old I was, but around the time that they upgraded from it, that's when I kind of got into the internet.
Yeah,
classic Line Rider and shit like that.
That line's about up. Yeah, that checks out.
Man, dial-up modems, those were the worst.
Yeah,
I know the memes.
Especially when you wanted to get on the internet like at 2 a.m. and you had to sort of try muffle the damn noise because your parents were upstairs trying to sleep.
Right.
And you wanted to do some stuff on the internet that you didn't want your parents to find out about.
Now, Kinan, what were you doing on the internet at 2 a.m. on dial-up?
I mean, do you want the answer or do you want me to just leave it there and leave
I think you've already answered in a way.
There you go then.
I mean, I think it's what we were all doing at that time at 2 o'clock in the morning on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, Avenue Q sung about it, so, it's just like it's right there,
Oh, gosh. Waiting for any sort of media to load.
I do remember that. I remember, like, the pictures slowly chunking in a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Kids these days will never know the struggle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, super low res, just
take it forever to load in, and then you've basically blown through like 10. Well, at the time it was just whatever your monetary currency was. For us it was guilders because we didn't have the euro yet at the time. Jeebus.
Guilders. That sounds like that sounds like something pirates would use.
I mean, it technically was. I mean, the symbol for it did come from florins, which indeed were at least popularized one of the currencies used by pirates.
Primary piracy right there.
Right? I mean, oh come on, the Dutch like during the 1700s, we basically ruled the seas. So
Were you out there with the gold coin, the sack full of gold coins? You just place it on the table. Here, are my guilders.
Yeah, no, well, florins at the time.
Suck my dick, prostitute, that kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah,
okay.
It was common in that time.
It's common now.
Not as. There's a brothel on every corner back in the day, my dude.
I think there's still a brothel on every corner if you look hard enough.
Maybe.
That can go wrong places. Oof. And I'm not just about to talk about the place that does require lube. Oof.
Ba-dum-bum. Yeah, dial-up was really bad, and I know at least I'm old enough to remember dial-up still being a thing when the original form of Napster existed.
Oh,
when you could just straight download file to file, before that all got taken down.
Shut the fuck down.
And got like way shadier. But the only problem was, you downloaded at your dial-up speed. So it would take you like at least like an hour to download a song.
Oh yeah.
And then if you got kicked off the internet, you just like lost all your progress.
Yup, totally. Yeah, it's amazing because I'm working. I just broke ground on a new video I'm working on, and like I needed to download the entirety of an anime series. So we're talking like 50 episodes all in HD, and I think it took me like 20 minutes to download all of that.
Were you like getting annoyed with how long it was taking?
No, because my internet's pretty quick, so it wasn't bothering me. I was sitting there like, I'm actually impressed this is going so fast. But like when you compare it to that, it's like back in the day, if you told someone that was going to work, that would be like, that's witchcraft.
I mean, the first time I saw like ADSL, because that was the main thing before like also cable came in and eventually fiber optic internet. It was kind of a miracle. Like here was this one game, like it was like a demo even of Crimson Skies at the time. I'm not sure if you've heard of it at all.
I don't know Crimson Skies, no.
Okay, now basically it's just an airplane game. You basically had these giant dirigibles, and they had like hangars for airplanes in there, and it was kind of steampunky.
Dirigibles? What is
What's
that?
a dirigible?
Blimps.
Blimps. Oh, I've never heard that term before. Okay.
Bringing blimps
okay.
back. Okay.
Yeah. So
Little
anyway,
Dutch
so
blimps,
you would
all bright orange in the sky, blinding people.
Like the Nickelodeon blimp. That was a thing.
Nickelodeon is Dutch, guys.
Nailed it.
But no, so you would it would be like, I think it was 200 megabytes at the time, which on today's internet you would just sneeze and you would download it. Then that took like you didn't even want to download that on a 56K modem because that was just impossible. It would take days. But on this new fancy, like, you only pay for the internet subscription and you can just download whatever the hell you want internet, it was like, what was it at the time? Jeebus, like 15, 20 minutes? And it was downloaded. That was just magic to me.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And and I've never looked back. Like, why would I ever?
I mean, why would you?
Right.
Right?
I don't like this 20 megabytes a second download speed. This is some bullshit.
Right? I mean,
this is too fast. Man wasn't made to go this fast.
This is legitimately, though, the first time I've actually had a conversation with people about 56K modems since they had gone extinct.
Yeah, that's where we go with things. You never know what's gonna pop up.
Well,
Right?
it's always crazy to think about the numbers of it because we have that record of it. Like I can't remember the exact figure, but it's something like every single year the amount of like storage capacity we're able to fit on a single hard drive doubles year over year, and it's been doing that for like 20 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's like crazy to imagine because I remember like back when I was a kid. If if you had a 2 gigabyte flash drive, that was fucking insane. And now I have like a 16 gig flash drive in my desk drawer that's kind of a piece of shit and costs like $15.
Well, I remember, I think I got one. I think it was my first flash drive. It had like a flashlight and a laser pointer.
Whoa! You had a Swiss Army flash drive.
Yeah, it was. I believe it was made by Eddie Bauer, but it only. I want to say it either held like 128 megabytes or 256.
Nice.
And it was probably, I don't know, 1.5 inches by 2 inches. It was not small at all.
Yep.
Nope. I'm almost hesitant to ask, did it also open beer bottles and get you coffee or something?
I mean, I probably could have tried to open a beer bottle with it.
Oh man.
Join us on next week's episode when I open a beer bottle with my old flash drive.
You can open up my non-alcoholic beer and finish it off for me.
Oh man,
for sure.
I'm gonna be legit curious about hearing how that goes, whether the old plastic survives or the beer bottle.
We'll see.
Here's the thing though about old tech. It might be old tech, but when you look at it,
it's hardy as fuck.
It's hardy as hell. Like, and they make the memes about the Nokias, of course. Mm-hmm. But seriously though, you do not want somebody to throw that at your face because that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, right.
And the phone will be fine.
Oh man, do either of you guys remember the old Nextel phones, like the yellow one with the black rubber all the way around it? It was kind of like designed as like a construction kind of thing, but they made an all black version 2 that people had, and you could like chuck that thing off the top of a building.
No, I don't.
And it would just be fine.
I don't know those things.
I think this might be an American thing because that is not something I've heard about.
All right, fair enough. It was an old tech cell phone that also had a 2-way radio built into it.
Oh, dude, sick.
2-way was a big thing back in the day when we used to have to pay for cell phone minutes.
Right. And people forgot that was a thing.
People cared about that. You could use the 2-way with someone else who also had Nextel.
Well, and
not use your minutes.
The cell phone minutes thing was a thing like before I got a phone. So I just remember, I don't remember what company was doing it, but like all these companies had these weird commercials where they'd have like cell phone minutes and it'd be like a little like disc thing that they'd carry around, or like it kind of looked like the little tins that like tobacco chew comes in.
Yeah.
And I, as a kid, I legitimately was like, what do you do with these things? You just like stick it in your phone, you get a couple extra minutes? Like, what is this? Because they decided to like personify the minutes into these little discs. And it was like, okay.
Right.
So I'm going to go collect 40 of these discs and slowly feed them all into my phone. Like, how does this work?
How do I carry all these?
Yeah.
I can't hold all these minutes in my 2 hands.
That should have been a commercial. There's too many minutes. I can't carry them all.
Right.
They're just falling out of their hands all over the place.
Right.
Oh, you're still with that old provider? Oh, man, let me tell you about mine.
Brings out a sack full of discs.
Yeah, or even worse, just pops up with a code. Hey, one of my discs, buddy. That can't be misconstrued.
A minutes deal there.
Right?
That would be a thing if they were physical things. That's hilarious.
Oh man,
I love that concept.
Some black market
minutes. Out of
Just
context at all.
Gonna pack up a couple black market minutes. I make my living selling minutes.
You joke, but somebody probably did.
It's definitely possible. It's funny to think about like professions or just jobs that existed because of certain old tech things that like no longer do. Right. Like if you think about like phone operators who used to have to like physically connect people to one another. Mm-hmm. That's still a thing in some places, but mostly not.
No, mostly not a thing.
You know what the stupid thing is though about those phone operators, or at least the tech of the time?
Most of them were women.
No, not even that. No, like as far as the tech goes. But speaking of old tech though, just to really quickly finish that thing there, right? Like, cause you know those plugs, those like 2-inch plugs that they used back then.
Mine's definitely bigger than that.
I'm talking about the phone operator plugs.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I thought Sorry, we get off topic a lot. I thought we had changed.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. But because we're on the topic of old tech surviving, and that tech still survives. It's like currently 3.5mm plugs, but that's the same freaking tech we still use. It's
They're
not
just very
been
small,
upon. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in a way, they've been improved upon with like Bluetooth and wireless. Like, you don't need wires anymore. So in a way, in a way, these plugs we have plugged into my computer right now are old tech.
I mean, for some people, it's neat. For most people, it's fine. But before we started, Mac, I was already sort of saying, and then Mike came in, so you had to walk off. But I, for example, have everything still wired up to my computer because I physically can't use a wireless headset. It just makes me dizzy and nauseated and gives me vertigo and all that good stuff.
I didn't know that. You never told me that.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna.
Sounds like you're getting left behind by the rest of humanity advancing, Kinan. Sucks to be you.
It's fine. It's part of my apparently biology, and I just can't handle them, and it's I mean, they still put out whatever I need, and there's always going to be a market because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who is affected by this. And yeah, I'm not worried.
Now, this question will go for both of you, but mostly Kinan, because you're closer to my age. So you dealt with this. You dealt with this more playing video games growing up. I, much like you with the Bluetooth headphones, I have never been able to get used to playing with a wireless console controller.
Really?
Yeah, it needs to be corded.
Huh.
Okay.
Interesting.
And I don't know, maybe it's just because I've never... I think the last console I owned and still own is a PS2.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think you could maybe get wireless for later on.
I think you're right. I think you used to be able to connect them through like the memory card slot.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, everything I've always had was corded. And so like anytime I've played any sort of wireless game, it doesn't feel right. Does it
not feel like what you're doing is translating into the game correctly?
Yeah, there's kind of that, and I feel like I kind of almost missed a little bit of like weight pulling down.
I see.
Okay.
I don't know.
I can understand that to an extent, but I feel like the relief of being able to like not have it get tugged on is more than outweighs it for me, at least.
Well, and I'm sure if
I don't want people tugging on my cords, without consent.
I mean, depends on who's tugging on it.
There it is.
It always gets there somehow.
Yeah. We definitely don't try to avoid it, but
I'm not complaining.
But I don't know. Maybe I just haven't played enough video games with a wireless controller to realize how great they are. But from my experience, I do like a good corded controller.
I follow you to an extent, but I will also say I do love the freedom afforded to me thanks to wireless controls.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's not to say I can't go back to wired controllers, because I have an old joystick, USB joystick, in like a cupboard like right next to me, and there's an old corded controller in there as well, and I have an Xbox 360 controller that's corded, which doesn't really get used anymore. And I will say I will get annoyed at times at the crappy battery times of some controls. Like I'm looking at you, DualShock 4 laying under my screen.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. It's weighing the benefits, I guess, for me.
Sure.
And it honestly also depends really on what controller you're holding. And I don't know. What have you actually held then as far as controllers go? Like more like, let's say like post PlayStation 2 era.
Oh gosh. I mean, really, I think after that probably just PS3 and maybe PS4 and whatever Xbox has been out since then. What, one maybe? Is that the one that came out?
There's Xbox One, Xbox One X, and then the new Xbox Series X.
I think Xbox One is probably the last one I touched.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering, because otherwise I would have especially because of the weight that the Xbox One controllers have, I would have pointed you in that direction to at least to
I will say that is kind of thing. I obviously it's not going to replicate the feeling of like being tethered.
Sure.
But controllers have gotten a lot heavier. Like here, I'll grab my PS5 controller real quick and show you how heavy this motherfucker is.
Oh, perfect. I love this.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest then maybe grabbing Mack's DualSense controller. Yeah, and no, not in that way.
Oh, I mean, that might. That's for another time.
Well, we're not recording this, sure.
Right. We're not going to do that.
To hear that.
Yeah, no one needs to hear that.
What were we talking about while I was unplugged?
Don't worry about it. DWAI.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
They were talking some. You guys know I'm going to edit through this, right? I'm going to hear it.
Yeah, you're going to leave it in though. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, this is fairly.
It's hefty.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely weighs more than like the old school controllers I was used to.
Yeah, because those things were basically like a plastic shell around, like a circuit board.
Right.
But then like this thing, they've got like this super advanced, like the triggers have haptic feedback where like there's a hydraulic press that like pushes against it. So it feels like you're pressing like the trigger of a gun or whatever.
Right.
And it's got like all these like different spots where there's like stuff that vibrates, so you can like feel it vibrate across the controller instead of the whole thing just vibrating all at once. Like they've added so much tech into these things that they just kept weighing more and more.
Mm-hmm. Kind of on that same topic of changing the controller and advancing it so that it has things like trigger pressure or whatever. Have either of you used one of those like the vests that you put on that's supposed to, like, if you're playing a shooter, it's supposed to like vibrate in whatever area you were.
I've not experienced that. No,
I'm sure they're probably not very accurate, and it probably just the whole thing vibrates if you get hit. But they're supposed to be okay, I guess.
I have heard of them. I have not been able to actually find anything around here that does anything serious with it. But
yeah, it sounds like one of those tech things that someone's trying to introduce to some company to start using it, but they probably just won't do it because it's expensive to make.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's one of those. It's in a sense like VR goggles. If you ask me, it's a very niche market.
My problem, and this is coming from a guy who's been like an early adopter of the whole VR scene. Like I have the original version of the HTC Vive. I was picking up the VR stuff right when it started to become popular. I just think VR in its current state could be considered kind of in a beta phase. Like it's not consumer ready with how much of a pain in the ass it is to use. Like, Mike, I have my motion sensors that are like bolted to my wall.
Yeah.
And then I have these long ass wires that have to connect to my computer and have to connect to the headset itself. And then like there's all kinds of issues with it actually connected to the computer that I've had to solve over time. Like sometimes the headset won't display things correctly, or it'll flicker randomly. Sometimes the motion sensors won't work correctly, and you'll be sunk halfway into the ground because it thinks you're in the ground instead of just standing normal at your normal height. Like there's so many random bugs and issues with it that it's not consumer ready, and especially with the price too. Like with the way VR is right now, you basically need to have like an entire room set aside to use VR. Like for me, I have to move my coffee table out of the way every time I want to use it. It's just not set up for people to use in like an anybody can use this kind of sense. It's in its current state, and it has been this way for a long time. It's really just for people like me, like you were saying, Kinan. It's very niche. Like it's for the people who want to experience that and are willing to sacrifice whatever they're having to sacrifice to use it. It's not set up to be intuitive.
It's not consumer friendly.
It is not.
And the only way I've seen this work so far is those specialized day out
the arcade places,
sort of companies. Yeah, basically where you already set aside a room for that and you buy the equipment and just rent it out for certain games. That's the only space right now with the current tech that we got is where I see VR working.
Yeah, for sure.
What now, I've never used really any type of any of the new recent VR technology, but what about like the ones where you just like pop your phone into it?
I have not used those at all.
Those are awful. Just speaking from experience, those are awful.
Now, Kinan, I have to ask, is that you specific because you have big motion sickness issues? I can't imagine you can use VR at all.
Yeah, indeed, I can't use VR at all. But no, as far as the phones themselves go,
I'm sure the low resolution is problematic.
It's not even the resolution. It's the tech is just not strong enough. because you need a solid 120 FPS, and you need that solid, otherwise you're just gonna run into motion sickness regardless. Because the moment, especially when you said, like earlier, when you just would sink right into the ground, to people who are not used to that, that's gonna be jarring.
Even for like me, who is at this point used to it, it is it is an assault on the senses.
Exactly. So, and then you see something happening, and you don't feel that happening in your balance center in your ear. I'm so bad at English medical terms. Sorry about that. And
your cochlea.
Yeah, that one. Thank you. And you would just, I mean, the vast majority of people, I think, who are not used to this will just basically nearly upchuck from just that. Or, just be very unhappy about their current state of affairs.
Yeah, it's definitely, VR I've seen has been very hit or miss. Like, some people are super affected by it, and then there's people like me who I've never had an issue with feeling motion sickness with VR.
Be happy. But no, to go back to the phones, the hardware is simply not strong enough to hit that 120 FPS and do everything else. It just doesn't work.
Makes sense.
Fair enough. I was just curious because that seems like a pretty accessible, affordable way to kind of experience that, but I wasn't sure if it was any good or not.
They are making great strides in that field. Like, I know Vive has upgraded a lot of stuff to be wireless, and the controllers are getting to be more intuitive, but you still have to have like the trackers and have to have a million things plugged in. And I can't imagine all the issues I've had with on the computer sides of things are solved, because that's not an issue with the headset itself. That's an issue with the software running it. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of stuff that has to be fixed before it's ready for people to use in an average day. The
main thing I see and that I think VR needs first is one, lighter headsets.
For sure.
Which is still
a lot to ask, but it's
and that's just a start, because after that you also need to incorporate batteries, because you need to somehow get that freedom of motion that you would want in that kind of experience. Or barring that, you would always be using some kind of backpack to carry the battery, because your neck is going to get tired as hell from wearing the darn thing.
Yeah,
it's
other things will make your neck tired too, but
you're really just trying to force it in at this point, aren't you, Mike?
Also,
man,
what she said.
Are we going to rape territory? Oh no!
You didn't have to say the word. Now YouTube,
come on!
Kinan! The podcast is 5 episodes long. You're already going to get us canceled.
Oops.
Damn it. We're rebranding to Breakroom Hot Dogs next week to escape this.
It's fine. Mack will take care of it.
Fortunately, there's audio editing.
It's fine. I talk about incest in the video I'm working on right now, so.
Yep.
No,
I heard. You did drop that as a topic. I'm like, oh, wow, he's talking about that. Okay, sure.
We brought it up on the last podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, we brought it up on the last one, too.
Did you also bring up Ohio in the same sentence, or what?
Well, I think we talked about Ohio in that episode.
Pretty much, yeah. We did have that one episode where the last 5 minutes we just like bagged on Ohio the whole time.
Yeah. We don't like Ohio. I want it known.
I get it. I mean, Michigan's right next door, so
Who do the Dutch not like?
Well, Kinan, I know you have a particular issue with and maybe this isn't you in particular. From what I understand, it's Europe, but I know you are not a big fan of the French.
I don't think anybody is.
That's everybody.
Yeah, nobody likes France.
I don't know. I didn't know that much about like the French situation, and then Kinan literally like half an hour for one of our live streams together just kept going on about how douchey the French are.
I mean, because they are. Let me explain one douchey thing that the French are doing right now. So, little tidbit in front. There is, for every European nation, a veto right for any topic. So, here's the second part. For 1 week out of every 4, the European Parliament takes all their documents, all their everything, and all the people, and moves it to Strasbourg in France. This costs, and this costs hundreds of millions of euros every freaking year to do. And every other country has been trying to get that to stop because it's a waste of freaking money. But the French are like, no. We didn't want to check. It's literally that. They're just like, no, we don't want this. Like, nope, we're just gonna stop.
What is the purpose of doing that? Like, why do they have to move every now and then?
Yeah, patriotism. It's like it was originally agreed that would happen, but that was also when the EU was like 12 countries. And
I see.
France wanted to have some sort of thing to be proud about. A sort of patriotism thing, I think. And that's one of the things about France that bothers me a lot. The patriotism that goes through everything that they do, say, and even breathe. It is annoying as fuck.
If America wasn't around, Europe would hate France the most, is what I think is going on.
Yeah. No, I mean, and they're fine people otherwise, because, hell, the current president's actually not that bad, but it's just the stupidity of moving to Strasbourg every single time. Like, here's the EU, like, let's do all the green gold nonsense. And then there's France, we're like, yeah, but we're not stopping the move to Strasbourg, and everybody else is, like, collectively just face-palming.
Let's see. Do you have a king or a queen?
King, right now.
What's his name? Wait, I think I know this actually. Is he the guy that wears the funny hats?
I mean, they all do, so
I was going to say most kings wear funny hats.
No, but this guy wears like some goofy fucking shit. Let me pull up some pictures. I'm assuming this is the right guy.
It's King William Alexander.
There you go, King William Alexander.
Okay, it's not the guy I was thinking of. Which king wears the goofy hats?
All of them.
Really goofy.
Are you thinking of the Pope? He wears big hats.
No, not the Pope. I'm not talking like this guy wears multiple intentional stupid goofy ass hats.
Multiple hats at the same time?
No, they're like different hats that he has.
It's not our king then, that's for sure.
Who the fuck is it?
No, our king's the idiot who goes on a vacation to Greece while everybody else has to stay at home. That's our king.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yes, here's the guy, the Swedish king.
Oh. No idea what that even is. Gustav something? I don't even know.
What? That one looks like a Hershey kiss on his head.
It does. There's one where he's wearing like a pink top hat with bunny ears, like shit like that. That's what I meant by goofy hats.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. That's the Sweden king. Like, the Swedish king's up and all of a sudden it's fine, They keep him up there for the reason.
He's wearing one with a hot dog.
And
then this one, he looks like going really old school and bringing it into your realm of things you guys know about. Mm-hmm. He's got one hat on where it looks like he's got like frog eyes on the top of his head.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And it looks like in Super Mario Brothers 3 when you get the frog suit.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you put the rest of that on him, that's exactly what he would look like.
Totally.
Yeah. You started on the frog eyes. I'm like, oh god, here comes Super Mario Brothers 3 reference.
Yep.
There it is.
Hey, I tried to make it as relevant as possible.
No, hey, it works. It works. I'm just like, it's more cringy funny than it is haha funny. And I'm
Fair
also
enough.
glad he's not our king.
Goofy motherfucker. If we had a king, I'd want them to be doing stupid shit all the time. I think that'd be great. I mean,
yeah.
And not the kind of stupid shit like saying racist things on TV. Like,
right.
I was about to say, how real do you want me to get? Because I can get pretty real about that one.
No, that's cool. He's not president anymore. We can talk shit on him.
And he no longer has Twitter nor Facebook for now.
I love that.
Right.
Oh, that is such a breath of freaking fresh air on the internet. I hope they keep the ban. I swear
They will. They've said they will.
Okay, I haven't heard that.
They said if he gets reelected, he won't be allowed to make a new Twitter.
Oh, good. Good, because holy crap, that man needs to not. That man needs to legitimately just not.
I remember hearing everyone talk like, okay, well, when he's not president, you're still going to hear from him because then he's not going to have to like filter himself.
I haven't heard jack shit from the guy
because they shut all of his shit down. Like,
it's been awesome. It's been such a breath of fresh air.
It's so great.
It's awesome. We've had a full like 2 weeks without anything about Trump on the news. It's been great.
Right.
It's like the past 4 years. It's been like every other day something about Trump. Trump did some goofy shit.
Right.
But now like we haven't heard jack shit. It's been such a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
I was so happy about it.
Oh yeah, no. Imagine what we feel like over here in Europe.
I don't know. I'm not there.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're referencing with that, honestly.
Basically, how we were looking across the Atlantic and we were just cringing our everything off. In fact,
I feel like it's more like watching a reality show for you guys. Like, look at this goofy shit.
Right? And this is one more part why I appreciate the French president so much. He just like during the first meeting with Trump, and this is like recorded on video and everything, that he took Trump's hand, and he pretty much just this is a 40-year-old guy. He works out and everything. Trump's like what? It was 74 at the time, 73. I don't even know. Maybe 72.
He's an old bitch.
Something like that.
Yeah. So President Macron of France just takes the hand and then crushes it, and you can see Trump trying not to wince. And then when he gets his hand back, it is like legit almost trying not to wave it because it hurts. And I'm like, yes, I love you, French president. Keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. It was just good. And we were just all the cringe. There's so many pictures of Trump just being a repugnant little man-child, and the Europeans are just putting him in his place every turn they get. And that was the only delicious part about dealing with the French president for us. It was just, but beyond that, just all the cringe, all the terrible ideas, and oh God, we're starting a nuclear war with North Korea? What are we doing? Excuse you?
Yeah, no, it's been nice not hearing about it.
Yeah, so let's not hear about Trump for another 4 years. That'd be great.
Let's start by not talking about him anymore.
Yes, let's move on from that.
This is a question I have, just because I was thinking about looking across the pond, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And sorry to kind of point the topic towards me for a second, because this is like the You Guest podcast.
So,
but I am kind of curious, just because you like I said, you and I have been friends since I was making daily gameplay videos, and nowadays my content is completely different. So I am somewhat curious what it's been like for you seeing me change styles 8 different times.
Honestly, a natural process. I think the best answer I got. Because here's the thing. I generally take Daft Punk as an example for this, if you've heard of the music group.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, okay,
we all like to get
French.
lucky.
They're French, so you don't know what reaches across the pond.
Well, they're wildly popular here.
Right? So here's the thing. Daft Punk has per album changed what they do. And they just kept on trying to do new things. And for anybody who makes any kind of creative content, I think that is just a natural process, and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And hell, I've my own simple example. I've changed little. I've noticed, and just to give you a context thing, I went from my little weird intro that I did at the start of the podcast to a very simple, hey folks, what's up? And just went straight into what I was doing. These days I barely even do that anymore. I just make it a more natural start. Okay, well, let's go. And you, in that sense, have found out what works for you, what doesn't, and you're still in the process of continuously trying to refine that. Because you've done some videos, I haven't watched all of them, I'll honestly admit that, but where you just do these, big explainer things, and,
I usually refer to them as video essays, but I like big explainer things better.
Yeah.
That's how I saw them. You're explaining a big topic, and whatever topic that might be. I dug the one on Monster Hunter that you did. It's just
I actually hated that one, but I'm glad you liked it.
Don't worry about it. I write freaking stories, and I hate what I write half the time. That's why I also here's the thing, because I've been nagged by an English friend of mine to take my knowledge from my degree and my game development nonsense, and then apply that to making explainer. Oop, that was my keyboard. Explainer videos about stuff in games, what works, what doesn't, and sometimes also some ranty, maybe Jim Sterling kind of nonsense where you just tear something completely to the ground. Oh boy, I have words on Fortnite, even though it's not relevant anymore. I could tear that game down to the ground with the knowledge I have.
Right.
But, and that's just, you will probably hate what you do to some extent, because you are the one who looks at it the most and the longest, because you're the one making it, and you're the one thinking about it the most. For everybody else, it's a 40-minute explainer where oh yeah, that was a cool thing, and they will then remember the parts that they liked and then go to the next thing, because that's how our culture works these days.
You are definitely right in that sense. But with that video in particular, the videos where I'm writing out and planning things are still, in a sense, new to me. I've only done 4 of them. I'm currently working on a 5th. And that video, I was so dissatisfied with it that it inspired me to stop making weekly videos because I knew that video needed more time. So that was, for me, a kind of a breaking point. But continue what you were saying.
But that in itself is already you noticing what you want to do better.
Well, so there was something you told me. I don't know if I ever told you that, how frequently I think about this, but there was something you told me, I want to say not long after we had started talking. I want to say it was like we were after our live stream. We were not live. It was just you and I chatting. And this was something you passed on to me that had been passed on to you from somebody else. I think it was one of the TFS guys that told you something about how, even though they didn't have degrees in like social media or degrees in like video production or whatever, the amount of stuff that they've done working on like the Dragon Ball Bridge stuff is kind of equivalent to that college degree because of how much time they spent on it, and they know as much as they would have learned from that degree. And so I'm fairly certain I never told you this, but I actually think about that a lot, especially when it comes to videos that I'm dissatisfied with. For anyone who doesn't know, my first video was uploaded on January 9th, 2017. So it passed being 4 years old not too long ago. And so in that sense, I was frequently thinking about like if I was dissatisfied with the video, I would kind of have this thought of like, okay, well, in a sense, I'm still only a sophomore in terms of content creation. So it's okay that I'm not okay with this because I'm still learning. And so along those same lines, the video I put out in December about how music changes a video game, I put so much goddamn effort into that video. I like everything I knew about video editing, about writing a video, about comedy, about on-air presence, like everything I knew about video production went into that video. And so I think of that video kind of like as my bachelor's thesis, if you will. And so then this podcast is kind of one of the first major projects that I've undertaken with my degree, if you will. And to see it like do well right off the bat and have people like it right away has been very like validating for me, because it's like, oh, this quote unquote degree I have, the 4 years I spent working on videos and making content, was not a complete and utter waste. So I don't know if I ever told you how much that like how much I think about what that you having told me that, but it actually had a pretty profound impact on how I think about content creation.
No, you hadn't told me that. No.
I don't think I ever did, but I frequently it pops up in my mind, and especially seeing how like this year has been going for me with content creation, it's been kind of helpful for sure.
It's one of those things that you just keep thinking about, and that to the person who told you might be like an offhand comment, but to you it's something profound. And I can, and it's been like after December 2018 when I told you that, because I was like, and I'm not gonna name drop here because I'm not that vain or in need of like any kind of attention in that sense, which is funny considering I freaking live stream.
Right.
But right, it's but no, that was definitely somewhere in 2019 because I spoke to the guy back in December of 2018, like when I was there for a office party in a sense. So yeah, it's so you have somewhat of a timeline on that one.
Okay, so yeah, that I had no idea when that was. I just remember I frequently thought about it over the years.
Well, there you go.
So Mack, you kind of explained you kind of take your experience as it's like a life experience degree.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
That kind of makes sense.
I mean, well, because and I feel bad talking about so much about myself when Kinan is the guest here.
Dude,
but
don't worry about it, Mack. Our conversation works best when it bounces back and forth, so I'm perfectly okay with this.
Like the big thing for me with making videos is, I've been working on like the video aspect of it, the video editing, working cameras, audio, all that stuff. I've been working on that since I was like 14. But I didn't start making like comedy style videos until I was 18. So like the amount I've learned in these past 4 years has been absolutely absurd. Like certainly like I went into it with a lot of knowledge about how to record and how to edit my videos. But like those things have improved to a degree that I certainly didn't expect when I had started. And then when I think about like, I was very literally starting at a base level with like the on camera or on microphone personality aspect of it, because when I was learning how to make videos in high school, I never went in front of the camera. I wasn't interested in doing it. You know, like editing is the thing that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
So I always did the editing. Someone else always did the talent. I always was in the studio doing the switching on the switchboard rather than being in front of the cameras. So that was a part of it that I was basically starting from zero, having to learn. So if I think about that in terms of like a life experience degree, like you said,
right,
that's kind of how I see it. Because certainly I did not pay tuition and go to school for anchoring news media.
Right.
But if you look at my old videos and you look at like what we're doing now, where we're hosting a podcast, like holy shit, like my ability to do this kind of thing has improved so goddamn much that it is very easy for me to think of it as like having a degree in it.
Yeah, right.
So that was kind of how I've thought about it for a little while.
And you know what the funniest thing about all this is?
What's that?
When or if you ever decide to apply for any kind of job in this kind of field, what you basically have been creating is the most important thing any creative ever needs for any kind of creative job.
Yeah, it's just experience.
Portfolio.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have a portfolio, you can demonstrate this is my experience, this is what I can do.
Right. I went into it expecting that I needed to improve those things, but when I consider like all that I've learned over the past few years, it's absurd how much I've improved my video making abilities. Well, anyway, that's where we're at our time now.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. I've noticed that apparently a theme for the Breakroom Nachos podcast is that we like to trash some sort of geographic region.
Apparently, we did Ohio and France in this one.
Yeah, we took it international today because I think we did Ohio, Flint, and France in like 3 back-to-back episodes. So I like that continued even with a guest.
But here on Breakroom Nachos, we stan the Netherlands.
Yes, we do.
We absolutely love the Netherlands, and we love you, Kinan.
And stroopwafels.
Stroopwafels are fucking
you
great.
know about those. Oh, that's cool.
Stroopwafels are the best. We love
absolutely.
those. So, Kinan, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube at KinanPlaysGames, so Kinan and then Plays Games, all in one go. And if you really, for some odd reason, want to find me on Twitter, it is basically just Kinan and then ELDARI, Kinan Eldari. So for the off chance I tweet something silly and inane about whatever the heck is on my mind. Yeah.
I was actually kind of asking about your address, but that's fine. We'll go with those.
Yeah, no, I'm not throwing that on the internet.
Where can people find your house is what I meant.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I like my front window to be, in one piece.
You don't have the French coming and trashing your house.
Exactly.
You get like a baguette thrown through your window.
Like a 10-day-old baguette. It's just hard as rocks.
Yes. Oh, no, thank you. I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the 5th episode of Breakroom Nachos. Kinan, thank you for guest starring with us, being our first ever guest.
Yeah, thank you, Kinan.
And
no problem.
Yeah, everybody go check out Kinan's stuff. Him and I have been friends for years. He's a good guy. So, yeah, have a good day, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.